Hello, everyone. This is Norio Hayakawa of Albuquerque, New Mexico. But this afternoon, I am here in neighboring Rio Rancho, and I have a very special guest. He is a world-renowned, I would say, world-renowned aviation historian, and also he's one of the great UFO researchers. And I've known him for many years. Like he was present at the 1998 Area 51 People's Rally that I held in 1998 at the perimeter line of Area 51. And then also Michael Schratt. His name is Michael Schratt, by the way. He was one of the participants of the 2014 New Mexico UFO conference, which was a great success. And he was one of the speakers, along with David Marler and, Greg Valdez, the son of Gabe Valdez, and there was other speakers. It was a great conference, but here is a great friend of mine, Michael Schratt. Thank you, Michael, for coming right here to talk about this very important subject matter. And what do you have for us that we can see right now?
Well, Norio, thank you for being my friend. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to join you today. We go back a long time. We share the same passion of classified aircraft, UFO type sightings. We have that same passion, and I want to thank you, Norio.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome. Michael, I noticed that recently you have been appearing on a lot of TV programs, like on Netflix. I have seen several shows like, that William Shatner's interesting programs, and as well as ancient alien programs. You were in there also talking about realistic things, and that's what I admire about you, Michael Schratt. You are a UFO researcher, definitely, but grounded in facts and reality rather than imaginations and speculations like so many people have. But anyway, I understand you have something that you like to show us. What
I thought
is this?
we would highlight Peter Merlin's recently published book, Dreamland: The Secret History of Area 51. And this is by Peter Merlin, very good aviation historian, aerospace archaeologist. This is the kind of guy that gets boots on the ground. He visits crash sites of experimental aircraft, stealth aircraft, and he actually gets pieces of what's left behind. So what he did here in this very thick book that you can get on Amazon, and it literally is the definitive volume. It talks about the U-2 spy plane. It talks about the CIA A-12. It talks about the U.S. Air Force SR-71. He goes into the history of the base. He talks about Kelly Johnson. He talks about the F-117. He discusses Have Blue, which was the prototype for the F-117.
Wow,
it is literally the definitive volume.
That's amazing.
Just not going to get any better than this. Here you've got Tacit Blue here.
And this book is in full color.
Full color.
Full color.
What's the page count? Well, we're looking at 550 pages. So
and this was written by
Peter Merlin,
who is a world-recognized military aviation historian.
Yes.
And but anyway, that is great book, I think. And Peter Merlin is a great guy.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's no nonsense.
I know. I met him in 1995 when we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Area 51, and I was playing music, and people were having barbecue. But anyway, that was in 1995, and now we're living in 2025, and here's something that I would like people to see. And what about this illustration? And you are the draftsman and of military aviation aircraft, and you have a lot of drawings that you have made in the
Well,
past?
what I like to do, Norio, is similar to what you like to do. I like to get boots on the ground and go to these different locations and interview the witnesses, the test pilots, the engineers who've worked on these so-called black aircraft programs, and piece this mosaic together so we can kind of get a tapestry in what this actually looks like. So what I want to show your audience today is just some of the sketches that I've come up with based on first-hand military eyewitness testimony who have actually seen these craft. So we'll start here, and some of you might be familiar with a few of these aircraft. So over here on the bottom right, we've got the General Dynamics McDonnell Douglas A-12 Avenger II, and this was canceled by Dick Cheney back in 1991 at the cost of $5 billion to taxpayers. This is supposed to be the replacement for the A-6 Intruder. What you have over here, this is on the left-hand side, or my left hand. This is an aircraft that was seen by both a pilot and co-pilot of a 747, went right below the left wing. And this is by the Daggett VOR. It was seen by that location. Twin inward canted vertical stabilizers. It has a chine very similar to that of the SR-71. Over here, we've got something called the A-17 Stealthy Attack Aircraft, beyond Mach 2.7. Pilot and co-pilot, it has what's called drooped wingtips, so they go down for hypersonic or near hypersonic flight. Over here, you've got the Boeing Phantom Works Bird of Prey, which is now hanging at the Air Force Museum, Dayton, Ohio. This is an aircraft that was seen at multiple locations, including Cannon Air Force Base. So this is kind of like a very small cross-section of legacy of classified aircraft. So we'll continue on here. So we've got RAF Bosam Down, and the backstory is September 24th, 1996, I think was the date. Pilot and co-pilot, high-speed aircraft, Mach 2.8 to Mach 3, twin inward canted vertical stabilizers, very similar in appearance to what are called bread loaves on the YF-23, 75-degree swept wing configuration, and on the application of military power, there was a nose gear collapse, and they actually towed this craft back into a hangar.
I see.
They put a tarp over the center section. People on the outside of the chain link fence saw all this going on. Now, there was a C-5 cargo transport aircraft that was diverted, landed at RAF Bosam Down, loaded the crippled aircraft in the cargo bay, and then shipped it all the way back to Air Force Plane 42 Palmdale. So this is an example of one of our top secret classified birds that have not been declassified.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
And we'll continue on. All right, now on this one, we've actually got a little bit of a documentation here, and all of these come with paperwork to back this up. So this is a letter by John Andrews, who used to be Senior Project Design Engineer, Testers Model Corporation. He was the original, what we call interceptors. These are a very small network and group of individuals that go out and chase things that go bump in the night, just like you and I do. So here it says, Dear Ben, this is August 31st, 1984. Dear Ben, sketches below are 85% correct for one of the stealth designs. So if you look at here, you've got the 3-view drawing here, and we're talking about a single pilot, outward canted vertical stabilizers, and you've got these integrated air intakes on the top. So here is our drawing that shows you what this craft looks like. And then this is a full color rendering that goes with the drawing, just to give people an idea of what this thing actually looks like. All right, now we'll move on to the next one. This is a lot lesser known. We're talking about the first year of the Bush Senior Administration. We have what's called a base forward flying triangle, and you're not going to hear about this on the local news. This represents the crown jewel, or what's known as the silver bullets within the United States Department of Defense. So you've got a base forward flying triangle that was flying a nap of the earth mission. They were flying a little bit too low, and this is by Halle, East Germany. They clipped the top of a pine tree and augured in. Now, when that happened, it damaged the forward left-hand side of the base forward triangle, and then there was a hull breach on the aft section of the vehicle, with about a 30-degree tip-up angle with composite aircraft construction and fiber optics coming out of the back of this thing. Pilot and co-pilot survived, but what's interesting is a pumpkin, you could call it a terracotta configuration, or something that looked like a pumpkin with a sphere, popped out of one of the sides of this craft. They actually flew in a C-53 Super Stallion to retrieve this ball, and they shipped it out. So this is one of our classified aircraft. So when you hear about a threat to America, don't worry about it. We got it covered. Let's continue on here. Okay, now we've got 1989, 1990, Belgium Triangle, and we've got 5,000 eyewitnesses that reported a very large triangle with a white light at each corner. There was a red light in the center, shining these beaming spotlights below. These things were about the size of a football field. Now, a couple of points to keep in mind. Number one, multiple eyewitnesses stated that they saw what they term tubes, pipes, and cylinders on the bottom of the craft. Also, many of the eyewitnesses described hearing this low-frequency electrical humming noise, like a sewing machine or a transformer, making this humming noise. So if you really extrapolate the data, there's a large quantity of eyewitness testimony and technical documentation indicating that these are ours. This is not extraterrestrial, these are ours. Okay, let's continue on here. All right, now what we've got here is the Black Star program. This is something that was tracked down by Bill Scott over a 16-year time period. You have a long mothership that looks like the XB-70 from the 1960s, but even larger. It has winglets at the end of the canards. Here you have 16-foot long winglets at the terminating section of the delta wings. The whole aircraft is white. Along the leading edge here, you'll see there's a black outline. That's talked about by the witnesses. Has a crew of 3, pilot, co-pilot, and a launch control officer. He is the liaison between the mothership and the parasitic aircraft. Parasitic aircraft uses 2 linear aerospike engines. The bottom of the aircraft is completely composed of heat abrasive thermal resistant shuttle tiles taken directly off the space shuttle. They can be anywhere in the world in less than 2 hours.
That is just simply amazing.
Okay, M21D21 F-104 Chase. So this is just kind of some of our legacy programs. Let's go over to this one. This is January 5th, 2000. We have Officer Craig Stevens, okay? He took a Polaroid photograph of this thing. Large triangle flies over his squad car. He looks up, he snaps the shot, but what he said was that I thought was very interesting. These craft are using electrochromic panels, which actually what it does is it takes an electronic image of what's above the aircraft, it transfers it to the bottom surface, allowing it to blend in with the background. He called it Starfield Camouflage. That's the terminology he saw here. So what you see here is the constellation of Orion being backdrop against the night sky. You'd never even know this thing, but that's how good these guys are. Let's continue.
Amazing.
Okay, now
Amazing.
we have Fish, First Invisible Super Hustler. This was a Convair program that was the competitor to basically the A-12, the SR-71. They lost the contract and A-12 won out. But this would have been our reconnaissance aircraft if the SR-71 A-12 did not win the contract. Let's continue on here. All right, we've got some preliminary drawings by my good friend Rudy Gardet. So here you've got the SR-71. Over here is the F-117. And then, really quick story in a nutshell, I did a report on a very interesting UFO case, which we believed originally took place in 1983. Now we know it took place in 1981. This woman was trying to contact me. She actually sent me an instant messenger. She said, Michael, I've been trying to reach you for 10 years. I'm your original witness. I couldn't believe she actually called me. So over this month period, I worked with Rudy and we corrected all the errors, and I want to show you kind of a world exclusive here. This is what she saw. This is back in 1981. This is the car that she was driving in. This was 276 feet in length, 80 feet tall. The whole outside was composed of these battleship plates that were fastened by rivets, and she said that there were streams of rust coming down these rivets, like the whole craft was submerged in water and then brought back up. This is what she talked about. Porthole windows. She said that there was a section here with a transparent area with these 5'10" humanoid-looking beings wearing a one-piece tight-fitting flight suit. Now, she also said that there was a bar going across the entire front section of the craft that had what looked like tubes, pipes, and cylinders on the inside of the bar. So now, Norio, I want to take you to our full-color renderings here, and this is what we came up with to preserve an important part of our national history. Here's the blow-up here that shows you the door closing from right to left. These are all the pipes and cylinders in here. So we have made the breakthrough. The technology is absolutely real, and these mimic the form, fit, and function of other craft as well, but they're man-made.
That is so amazing, Michael. And thank you for
Sure.
sharing all these things. And
No problem.
you think that this all could be part of a futuristic program that could take effect sometime, I don't know when, in the near future?
Absolutely, and it will be absolutely believable and convincing. Yes.
Convincing that there will be
yes.
some kind of a incident that will utilize all these kind of technologies to produce some kind of a staging of something
It's
that
very
is
possible.
could affect the entire world.
It's very possible, or in order to garner additional support for defense spending. Yes.
That's amazing, and thank you so much, Michael Schratt, special guest today in Rio Rancho, New Mexico. This is Nori Hayakawa reporting.